Hi, I'm Paula, and this is Sojourney. On my last video, I had shown you the before pictures of the mess my dining room was in, and the plans that I had in my mind of how I was going to organize everything to get it set up for my sewing studio. Well, wow, things just snowballed into a really big project. Nothing turned out the way I originally envisioned in my mind. But for the most part, I've got it where I want it. I still need to fine tune, put some smaller items away, finish organizing things that I brought out of storage. But I'm pretty happy for the most part with how it is. So let me tell you what happened. Okay. So in the last video, let me flip this camera around. In the last video, my sewing cabinet was here. And the plan was that I would just swing that cabinet door open and, you raise the extended shelf to have an extended sewing area right here for when I use the sewing machine. It turns out that wasn't going to work because the wheels on that cabinet door wouldn't go from the wooden floor to the carpet. Okay. And then this shelving I was originally going to put here. In my mind, it looked good there, but when I put it there, it looked awful. So that wasn't going to work either. And this does look worse than what it really is because these are all empty and I'm saving them until I'm done organizing in case I want to use these boxes to put things in to help me get things organized, and that's empty also. So and I've gone through this and pulled some stuff out for organizing, so probably about 30% of that box I've taken out. So it's coming along with the smaller things getting organized. Anyway, so what do I do with the sewing cabinet that was there? The only place that I could put it was over here. Now, if you remember in the last video, over here was the white cabinet that had the microwave. So you can see how this really ended up being a much bigger project setting this room up. I had to stop. I mean, each step of the way, I just had to stop and sit down and think about it for a while. Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do with that? How am I going to fit this? So anyway, I pulled the white cabinet out from this corner, moved the microwave here. Now and then of course this folds down when I don't have all the stuff on it. This closes and then I can move this stool here in the corner out of the way. And it can look nice for when I have company or when I'm just not taking a break from sewing. It just looks like a piece of regular furniture there. But the white cabinet that had the microwave had kitchen stuff stored underneath. So there was no room in here for that white cabinet. I couldn't put it here because it came out too far. And there wasn't enough room, between the kitchen table and the cabinet to walk through. So that wasn't going to work. And originally I had planned on just leaving the table up against the wall. But when I had to move that there, the table had to come out. So everything is different than I originally planned. So I ended up having to take everything out of these kitchen cupboards and my island here and reorganizing that in order to fit all the kitchen stuff that was scattered between here, and the white cabinet in the corner there. I had to organize to fit everything in here. All right? So what happened to the white cabinet? Well, the white cabinet had to go. Where did it go? Well, originally in my living room, I had the bench that goes to my table, and it was here with my stereo on it. I decided to move the bench out, put it back under my kitchen table, and put the white cabinet there, and then put some of my living room stuff in there, like DVDs and stuff, so organize that. But the stereo didn't look right on there. So what do I do with my stereo? Well, the stereo had to leave the living room. So, back over here. Fortunately, the stereo just barely fit on the bottom shelf here. And then, of course, here I've got, some rechargeable batteries for my tools and stuff. I got a small place. There's no other place to put it. It just has to be there. And then some sewing stuff there. My goodness. What a fantastic job this turned out to be. And as you can see, I've got a mess. I'm still working on putting things away and organizing. But why am I sharing this with you? Well, the reason I'm sharing is because I want to encourage all of you who don't live in a house big enough where you just have that spare bedroom or that she shed or whatever, where you can set up, a place dedicated for sewing. And maybe due to your health or long work hours, you just simply haven't had the energy to, your house just got in a disarray for whatever reason. And, I want to encourage all of you that with some effort, you can make it happen. Get creative and make things happen. You might not have the dedicated space, but you can make it work. So, for instance, it hasn't been easy for me. I have health problems. And it's been a long journey just getting to this. I actually started working on getting ready to sew this last spring. But in the middle of that, I had to do all my summer chores and, trying to remodel my house, which I'm still working on. There's just a lot, and it was overwhelming. And sometimes I do feel overwhelmed, but just keep chipping away at it little at a time, because sewing does bring me joy. And it's important, that when you find something that brings you joy, to go to that extra effort to set things up so that you can do what you enjoy. It's good for you to do what you enjoy. You don't want to just keep working and never have any fun. It's actually good for your health to just make room in your life to enjoy life a little bit here and there. So anyway, in my little house, my sewing space, let me flip this around again. My sewing space doubles when I have company as a dining room. And then, of course, every day it doubles as a kitchen. Okay. And so with this worked out beautifully, that all I need to do, and actually since I made the last video, I actually did have company for Thanksgiving. And I just put a tablecloth over this, so I didn't have to worry about taking this off and storing it anywhere. I just put a tablecloth over this, and we ate at the table. And, you know, I've got everything fixed up where I can put things away and make it look like a dining room. Fold that down, you know, put everything, the sewing machine goes under there, that closes, this here folds back down. So everything, you know, within probably 20 or 30 minutes, I can easily get this set up to entertain guests when I want to. Once I'm completely organized in here, it will probably only take maybe 15 minutes to get everything all folded up. But I just have quite the mess in here. In addition to that, I'm in the middle of, you know, starting a new sewing project, which I'll do another video on this sewing projects that I'm doing. Another video. But anyway, and here's my bench, which worked out beautifully actually to put this here, because now I've got fabric stacked here for my sewing projects that I'm getting ready to do, and I'll explain that in another video what the plan is for these fabrics. But this is basically you saw the before picture, where the tools and right here, there was shelves with tools for remodeling and paint stuff and all that, plaster and all that. I've got that moved, you know, out of, you know, got it moved out of here. So, and then in a future video, I'm slowly working on getting a dress form set up, and I'll show that in a future video, what I'm doing, you know, to get that set up. Oh, and, you know, just a side note, I inherited this ironing board from my mom. It is actually about 10 years older than me. They don't make them like this anymore. Boy, this is a nice heavy ironing board. I know the fad right now is a lot of people are getting smaller ironing boards and setting them on tables to iron, which comes in great. I actually used to have one for quilting. It got ruined in storage. I had to throw it away. But, and so it was nice for that. But for actually big pieces of fabric and stuff, this is nice. And because this space is being, you know, doubled up for a kitchen and a sewing area, everything worked out beautifully where, you know, I've got the laundry there. There's room to walk here. I can pull the laundry out, fold my clothes. I can iron. And with this ironing board right here, big pieces of fabric can go here, you know, instead of on the floor. Just, it gives me extra space here. And then there's enough room here to open up this dishwasher door, and there's enough room to load my dishes and everything. And then, of course, when I'm not in the middle of sewing where I need the ironing board, that just folds up and goes in the closet. So anyway, it's coming along. It's still a mess, but it is, it's not as big of a mess as what it looks like. It is coming along. And I just want to encourage all of you, get creative at your own houses. If you You know, when you watch people in their sewing studios and you sit back and think, oh, I wish I had a sewing studio. I wish my house was big enough to have a sewing studio. Well, look around in your little humble house and think, well, where can I set up where, it can be my sewing studio, and then set things up where, maybe within 15 or 30 minutes I can fold everything down and we can use that space for other purposes. So I want to encourage you to do that. Enjoy sewing. Enjoy the journey of sewing. So this is Paula. Thank you for coming on my sew journey with me, and we'll see you next time.